Now, the deep state, they are pushing their event to the extreme. And I do believe within the next week or two, they're going to be pushing really, really hard. Because Trump, he's already mentioned that there might be a cure. And he says this could be a game changer. Now, the mainstream media, they don't like this. The deep state players, they don't like this because, like I've said in the past, once he announces there's a cure, this entire thing goes away with a snap of a finger. But remember, he's using this for a specific reason. And yes, there are timetables that they are following. And he's not just going to come out with the drug and say, okay, everyone take it, because no one would believe. So it has to go through some type of clinical trial. Now remember, the drug chloroquine is being used for malaria. And there have been many, many tests done on the coronavirus. And it has worked. Now, of course, it has to go through the FDA and everything like that. But this drug has been around for a very long time, something like 20 years. So they're not really worried about the side effects. But once again, when you're listening to the mainstream media, listening to the deep state, you're listening to all these people, they're still pushing their scare, panic, fear tactics because they know once this is out there, their entire event comes crashing down. And we are definitely getting messages from the Patriots that there is an operation happening very, very soon. We're going to be talking about that in a few moments. We'll go down the rabbit hole here. But first, we are seeing another resignation. Nikki Haley, she is resigning from the Boeing board. And again, this is just another individual who is resigning from their position. Now, yes, they're giving many different reasons why they're resigning. But if you notice, once this event happened, we saw a lot of resignations. We're also seeing a lot of individuals in government. They are doing some crazy things once they heard in a confidential meeting, classified meeting, that coronavirus is an event. They went out and they dumped their stocks. Remember, this operation by the Patriots is allowing these individuals to show their true colors. It exposes the corruption. It exposes the mainstream media. It exposes the deep state, all those individuals tweeting on Twitter. And we come to find out that Senator Kelly Loeffler, Richard Burr, Dianne Feinstein, and others, they just magically dumped their stock. Now, of course, each one of them, they're giving their explanation of why this happened. I wasn't in charge. Someone else was doing it. I just got notified. But I want to go back to post 3383. And this was back July 18, 2019. And it says, and I'm reading a small portion of it. Imagine what would happen if by law every U.S. congressman, woman, U.S. senator, president, etc. was by U.S. law audited every 1 to 2 years by an independent agency. Imagine what would happen if those audits extended to a family members of such elected officials. And I don't believe Q was saying this just to say it. I believe this is going to expose those individuals in Congress. And we might even see new laws passed for Congress where they have to be audited and their family members have to be audited. Well, that would cut down on a lot of corruption, wouldn't it? It would also cut down on all these foundations and everything else because all of these would have to be audited. And they would find out quite a bit. Now, very interestingly, China, they have announced that there's no new local coronavirus infections for the first time. The new cases that they are reporting, and these are 34 new cases, they were imported from overseas. So there were no new reported cases in Hubei province in China. Now, we know there's a lot of disinformation out there. Everyone's talking about a lockdown and things like that. And I just want to say from the NSC, they put out a tweet and it says, as we saw over the weekend, disinfo is being spread online about a supposed national lockdown and grounding flights. Be skeptical of rumors. Make sure you're getting info from legitimate sources. The @White House is holding daily briefings and @CDC Gov is providing the latest. So there's a lot of people out there saying that everything's being locked down, no flights are leaving or anything like that. Yes, there is travel bans. Yes, the borders are closed with Canada and Mexico. Trump spoke to those leaders. It was mutual. It's not something that they just went ahead and said, okay, I'm just closing the border. They both discussed it. But this is just for people. Trade is still happening across the border. But what's very interesting is that the deep state players, they are pushing their narrative, and they are now trying to put it out there that Trump is being weakened by this event. Now, actually, everything that I've been looking at and everything that people have been saying and people have been tweeting, it seems that Trump's popularity, Trump's confidence, and everything that he's doing is just making him stronger. Now, I know it was the deep state plan to make him weaker, and I do believe they were trying to make him weaker for the 2020 election so they can bring in the candidates they want to go up against him. And they were trying to weaken him so much, and they're hoping that he failed in this event, and this way they can say the economy crashed, he failed, look what happened, and I don't know how he's going to be president. But remember, when you know the deep state playbook, you're not really worried about that, are you? You know how to use this against the deep state players. Now, Maggie Haberman of the New York Times says Trump's allies say that, for the time being at least, his re-election hopes hinge almost entirely on his ability to manage the crisis. Now, if you notice, Trump is very calm with this. Actually, if you listen to his pressers, it's almost like he wants to say what's really happening, that a lot of this is fake, but he's holding back. John Brennan, he is panicking like there's no tomorrow. And if you actually look at his tweet, you can see that he's just angry at Trump because their entire plan is not going the way they thought. This is what it says. Donald Trump's ran against Peter Alexander, a reporter, reveals that the extent of Trump's incompetence, insecurity, and juvenile petulance. He is not and never has been a leader. He is a national disgrace. Because this individual, Peter Alexander, he was talking to Trump, asking questions about the new drug, not really new, the drug that they're testing now on the coronavirus. And Trump said he's very hopeful about it, and it looks very promising. But the mainstream media, they didn't want Trump to say that this is promising, that we might have a cure, that this is going to be a game changer. And they tried to continually say it was going to be, people are still scared, it's not going to work. And Trump really went after him and shut him down. And if you want to see that small take, you can go to my Twitter account, or you can go to Donald Trump's Twitter account, and you can see the back and forth that went on. But during the presser, the reporters kept on asking about the test. When are we going to test everyone in the country? Shouldn't we be testing everyone in the country? Does everyone get tested for the flu if you don't feel sick? No. Why are they pushing the test? Actually, during the same time, Hillary Clinton tweeted out, "Where are the tests?" Now, you have to step back and think for a sec. Why are they continually saying, where are the tests? Now, we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But during the presser, Trump said something very interesting, and I think this was a hit, definitely a hit, to the deep state. This is what he said. Take a listen. This is coming from Alex, who tweeted it out.
One thing, Secretary of State Pompeo is extremely busy, so if you have any question for him right now, could you do that? Because you know what I'd like to do? I'd like him to go back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'd like to have him go back and do his job. So does anybody have any question? Please.
Now, did you hear what he said? He said, I'd like for Secretary Pompeo to go back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department. He was calling out the deep state. Now, let's go back to why they keep pushing testing. Let's think about this logically. Why push? Well, we know that the WHO, the World Health Organization, was giving out tests that had a 50 to 80% false positive. This means the reason they are pushing the testing is to push panic, because if everyone took the test, it would show the majority of the people had coronavirus or COVID-19. What would happen if this should occur? The people would begin to panic. Everyone would be sitting here going, oh my God, everybody has it. This is what the deep state wants. This is the only reason they're pushing that everyone should get a test. Like I said, if you don't have a sickness, you don't get tested for every sickness, do you? Well, let's say my throat's not sore, so I'm not going in for a strep throat test. I'm not going in to check to see if I have the flu. It's not done. But they want everyone to be tested. Now, remember what Trump said. Trump said that we should be in groups of smaller than 10 people. This is to help the situation. And let's think logically for a second. If everyone got tested and there's no cure, there's no vaccine, what would everyone do with that information? Where would they go? They would go to the hospital? Or would they stay home? I mean, what would that solve? It wouldn't solve anything. It would just create a panic and chaos across the country. This is what the deep state wants. Trump is not giving it to them because he knows these tests that the WHO was issuing, they're faulty. They're not good. And this is why he's countering this with stay in groups of less than 10. Let's shut down a lot of the stuff here. And we'll be talking about why he's saying less than 10 in just a minute. And if you notice, Trump continually says that it's the China virus. This is all being done on purpose. We mentioned this before. It's about exposing the mainstream media. The more he says it, the more the mainstream media pushes back. The more that they say he's racist. And people are starting to wake up. This is why we had an OANN reporter say, well, if you say Chinese food, is that racist? No. If you say Spanish flu, is that racist? No. It's a territory. You're not racist against a territory. He's not talking about the people. He's talking about a territory of where it originated from. But we can see that these individuals, they are pushing the deep state propaganda. And remember, in all of these countries, there are central bankers, deep state players in these countries. Yes, you also have good guys. I do believe Xi is working with Trump. He's also working with Putin and many other countries. This is a major operation. Actually, Q has told us, why does Trump work with Xi, Putin, and others? They're in this together. Now, yesterday Trump talked about a cure, and this was the beginning of the narrative. And the mainstream media, they are trying to push back on this as much as they possibly can. And there's been many studies about this drug. And actually, the armed forces, they take this drug. And I do believe this is why they were shipped over without masks, because the Patriots already knew that they were immune to this coronavirus. Now, Trump is continually out there saying 15 days, groups of less than 10. And Praying Medic picked up on the number 10. It says, remember, Anons, when you gather with friends, be sure to keep the party to less than 10. That brings us back to post 60. This is November 2nd, 2017. It says you can count the people who have the full picture on two hands. Of those less than 10 people, only 3 are non-military. Why is this relevant? Game theory. Trump keeps a close circle of less than 10 people. Think about why he's saying this. Then Paul Sperry points out something very interesting. He said, just FYI, to clear up any confusion out there, COVID-19 is the name of the disease. Now remember that word, disease. COVID-19 equals coronavirus disease of 2019, while SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus. So SARS-CoV-2, severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus number 2. So they're calling this a disease. I wonder why they're doing that. If you go back to post 1851, down below it says, these people are sick. You people are a disease. We the people are the cure. That's why it's not called a virus. They are the disease. They are sick. We are the cure. Now, very interestingly, Trump, he is waiving FDA regulations, opening the door for chloroquine and other drugs to be used for coronavirus therapy. Now, on the whitehouse.gov site, Trump wrote the whole thing out, and it says nothing will stand in our way. Medical breakthroughs are too often held back by outdated, burdensome government rules and regulations. For Trump, this is unacceptable. Today, I want to share with you exciting progress that the FDA is making with private sector as we slash red tape like nobody has ever done before. I've directed the FDA to eliminate outdated rules and bureaucracy so this work can proceed rapidly, quickly, and I mean fast. And we have to remove every barrier. Now, this reminds me of Post 735. We read this before, but it seems that he's opening the door for other types of cures. Remember when Anon asked Q the question, how long will we have to wait for the cures of cancer and other sicknesses? Q responded, chatter amongst those in control has begun. They know, we know, which means the public will know. Release prior to cover-up, public informed and collapse. Which option? Now we know that China and Russia, the U.S., along with other countries, they're working together to bring down the entire deep state establishment and then go after the central bank system. And it seems that Q might have hinted in a post letting us know that this was planned from the very beginning. This was planned with Xi Jinping. And Athanasius tweeted out the following. It says, thank you, Xi. CQ cancel. The New World Order worships Satan, Putin. But points out something very interesting in post 1116. And this is April 9th, 2018. It says, thank you, Xi. Good start. China. CQ cancel. Now, medical and science, CQ means chloroquine. Now, that's the first thing. Then today, we have a video in China, in Chongqing, China, where they're having some type of anti-missile exercise. Now, this post, 1116, and remember, Q has told us that there are more than one meaning. This post was originally the operation in Chongqing canceled. Now, during this coronavirus outbreak, where the world has been shut down, why would they have some type of operation over the city? Doesn't really make sense. So if you read it this way, thank you, Xi. Good start. Does that mean they're going after someone right now? Is this not an exercise? And then the next line, China. Chloroquine will cancel the coronavirus. Let's continue. Xi sent out a message about the storm. And educating liberals, and this has come from Anon 661, it says the storm is upon us, and it shows Xi Jinping on Fox News shifting the message. President Xi just said earlier today, in regards to the virus, the sun will come out after the storm. It feels like everyone is on board here. Remember the Irish Prime Minister who said the storm is upon us? Now, the State Department, they have issued a travel advisory, which is level 4. And the State Department advises U.S. citizens to avoid all international travel due to the global impact of COVID-19. In countries where commercial departure options remain available, U.S. citizens who live in the U.S. should arrange for immediate return. Now, we need to go back in time a little bit. A couple days ago, we read posts that boom, 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 next week, boom, next week. So it seems that this is out there giving people time to get home. And this reminds me of post 103. And Anon says, for God and country. Q says, POTUS, you are all heroes. Come home safe. God speed. So let's start putting all this together here. Businesses are closed. You can't have more than 10 people in a group. There is no school. There's no college. States now are saying, listen, all non-essential employees, they should not come to work. We have the borders closed. We have something happening in China. And we have this travel advisory where all Americans must come home immediately. And then I decided, let me go back to March 20th. And this is March 20th, 2019. We understand that all of a sudden on Google, a lot of people were talking about this. I noticed it. The censorship is removed. And a couple days ago, we reported that now you can see everything about Rachel Chandler. Now, once again, Q has been telling us that future will prove the past. And a lot of these posts have more than one meaning. And they're given at certain times to explain what is going to happen. If you go back to post 3125 on March 20th, 2019, it says the attempted coup, treason, opens the public door to more serious. The pill must be easy to swallow. Now, it's funny that we're in the middle of this outbreak and pill is capitalized. What form does the chloroquine come in? Comes in a pill form. Let me continue. The lead-in. The public must be prepared for what is about to come. The Clinton Foundation with a lot of pluses. Then we go to post 3134. This is also March 20th, 2019. It says, how many girls were waiting for the return to the boat? Who owned the boat? What does a handler procure? Is the handler one of many connected to Epstein? Flight logs reveal many hidden artifacts. Brackets, bold, caps, RC, Rachel Chandler. Down below it says, who is Rachel Chandler? Post 3135 gives us everything from post 3134. Down below it says, what high-profile elite people fund and provide Rachel with her photography studio? What is the studio used for? What is the studio really used for? Well, we know what it's really used for. Who has RC been pictured with? This goes far beyond spirit cooking models. Well, now, because the censorship is removed, you can see all the Rachel Chandler pictures and who she is with. Don't you find this is odd that this all happened right now? Let's continue. Post 3136, there's a picture of Rachel Chandler. Chandler equals child handler. These people are sick. Down below it says, if the records become unsealed, much will be revealed. Watch the news for Rachel Chandler. I do believe all of this stuff is about to break. And this brings me back to post 34. This is November 2017. This is Q Clearance Patriot. This is Q. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11.3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11.4. Now, a lot of people think that's dates. It might not be. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actionable and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We'll be initiating the emergency broadcast system during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Now, Ivanka Trump tweeted this out. Send love and gratitude to our great American farmers, ranchers, truckers, grocers, and stockers. Thanks to those heroes and many more, our U.S. food supply chain remains strong. Now, there's a picture of individuals holding corn. Now, we know that Devin Nunes and others said it's time to harvest. Is this Ivanka's message letting us know it's time to harvest? Now, IET, this is an inevitable_ET, tweeted out the following. Ivanka with a corn tweet. Gloves on farmer has a skeleton pattern. Pain, corn ready to be cut. Shows a picture of Ivanka's tweet. Shows the skeleton, which is the same as the Punisher skeleton. Shows post 3525. The corn is now ripe for harvesting. And remember in the IG report, when you search Comey, it came up 0 times. It was misspelled Corney. That came up 480 times. And then we have Devin Nunes. The corn ready to be cut. I do believe the Patriots are getting ready for a major operation. This is why they're calling everyone home. This is why everything is being secured. They are blocking all the exits. Now, does this mean we're going to see troops on the ground, mass arrests, and things like that? I don't believe so. I do believe there's going to be an operation, but I don't think it's going to be martial law, lockdown, and what the mainstream media and others are trying to push out there. I do believe Trump, the Patriots, are trying to minimize damage by having a lot of these public areas closed, people in their homes. So this way, the deep state, they can't use a false flag to hurt innocents. And I believe this is a coordinated effort across the country. And when everything is said and done, I do believe the power structure is going to be removed. The people are going to start to learn the truth. And I believe this is why the censorship algorithm has been removed. That needs to be there. Q from a year ago is letting us know that this information is going to hit the airwaves. Q has also told us that they just didn't mention Epstein just to mention Epstein. There's a reason for all of this. All of this was planned out at every step of the way. And I do believe that we're in the middle of this great operation where the Patriots are going after these deep state players who are the disease, who are sick, and we the people are the cure. The Patriots are the cure.